I've been trying to figure out for the last few days. In fact, when Joshua asked if I would not only come here for this event tonight, but also to speak with you all, because I'm generally the person who likes to stay behind the scenes. It's very interesting to me when I think about just my road to meet Joshua, to be here with Ambassador Watson. And I can't help but not think about when I was a child watching O.J. Simpson jump over luggage on his way to the rental car, the Hertz commercials. And I mention that to start off because for me as a young black child growing up, that was a huge thing to be able to see a black man on television smiling and not out of breath and, almost leaping buildings in a single bound. And so over the course of my life, I've had a chance to live overseas to do certain things, but that's not important right now. The thing that I keep thinking about is the journey that brought me here. And so I'll start with 1994. I graduated from Virginia State University, and I go on to work at the EPA. And now the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, allowed me to start my first job on the campus at Virginia State University. Why is that key? That is where I was the day that the verdict was delivered in the O.J. Simpson trial. Now, I didn't have a chance to watch the trial as much as other people. I was working my first job. I was really trying to make a dent, but I was following it. And while I was working at the EPA in Washington, D.C., I was coming back and forth between Virginia State. It was one day I was sitting in my boss's office, and he was a really, really great guy who used to often tell me, and I'd say he was white. He used to always say, "I wish that my kids were as focused as you." And we were talking. We happened to be talking about the case, and one of his coworkers came in, and he asked, "What are you guys talking about?" And John said, "The O.J. Simpson trial." And this man responded, "Oh, you mean the monkey trial?" So I said, "What do you mean?" And here I am, this 22, 23-year-old kid sitting in the office with this 40-some-year-old career government workers, wondering, wow, isn't this amazing? Here I am just a year and a half removed from college, and I'm already in a situation where I feel like there was an undertone of race. So he said, well, the way that it keeps swinging back and forth. And you could tell he was very uncomfortable. One, that I asked, what do you mean by this monkey trial? So fast forward, the verdict is rendered. And so that day I had an option. I could go watch it with some of the faculty at Virginia State, but I wanted to watch it with the students. And when the verdict was delivered, it was louder than if my favorite football team, sorry, it's not the LA Raiders, the Dallas Cowboys have kicked a field goal and won a game. But it was a cheer. The excitement, everyone, it was amazing to feel that energy that day. So years later, I go on to work at the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, where I had the honor of becoming the Deputy Executive Director. And I mention that organization because Ambassador Watson is a founding member of that organization. She helped to found that organization along with several other African-American state legislators in 1977. And there was a gentleman Spencer Hathaway, who used to work for the ambassador here in California when she was in the state legislature, who also became the vice chair of the Corporate Roundtable. And so I got to know him during my time there. And he is the one who called me last summer and said, and I hadn't talked to him in a couple of years, and he said, Atiba, there's someone I want you to meet. And I said, okay, I've gotten that type of call before. He said, well, it's about a movie. I haven't gotten that kind of call before. And it's about O.J. Simpson. Oh boy. So he said, I really just, if you just come and talk and listen to him, I think you'll like what he has to say. So it was a hot summer day, muggy. I came and met Joshua. And I'm going to say this because Joshua always has on his uniform. So it's funny because when I went to sit down with him, I thought, wow, he looks like a director. As he started talking, I thought, He's a great storyteller, but he kept feeding information. And normally in these type of informational meetings, I sit for an hour, I leave, I go back, I do my research to determine whether or not someone is on the up and up, et cetera, especially a subject matter like this. But we sat for about 3.5 hours. And he had my attention. And I told him I was leaving the next day to go to, I think I was going to Colorado for a meeting. And on the plane, whereas I usually sleep, Joshua sent me the screenplay. Now, I didn't know this, but at the time when he sent me that screenplay, that he does not usually send the screenplay out to anyone. So apparently, not only did he touch me, but I had touched him in some way. So I read the screenplay, I got the go-go in flight, and I started doing my own research based on what was in the screenplay. And I was astounded. And that's why I'm excited to have this opportunity today to talk to you all, because as the pastor said, truth leads to freedom, deception leads to oppression. We live in a very interesting day and time, especially today in 2016, where the political party upon which I am a registered member of is a mess. And it is dredging up things that Ambassador Watson experienced while she was in the House of Representatives that has grown to now that we are seeing this reality show play itself before our eyes. And so this conversation on race that this movie will generate is not just one that has not been occurring, but when we look at O.J. Simpson, there are so many different things, even down to this picture that we have right here, with this line going right down between black and white. And that this is going to create some hard conversations. But if we are going to move forward as a nation, if we're going to move forward from this trial of 20 years plus, if we're going to move forward and find exactly what actually happened and why were there things that were not told. Why did the press and why does the press continue not to tell us information, not just about this case, but about other things? Right. Then we're going to have the hard, difficult conversations that may have been spearheaded by our parent country, but we the children, we the people, it has to come from us. We have to, we have to have these conversations. So my great grandmother used to say, it's a good thing to remember, but a better thing to do. Always hang with the construction gang and not the wrecking crew. And I believe that that's what we are doing with this film. Thank you.
Thank you, Atiba. That was